back with another review, and today we're going to talk about The Terminator. And what more can you say about this film? I mean, it's a classic, it's a sci-fi classic, it's a timeless movie. And that's the thing, with especially when you talk about this film, because when I was thinking about the review, and I'm like, okay, what can I really add that's new to the conversation? What can I really add that hasn't been said already? So it's just going to be me really gushing about this film, why I enjoy it. I can break down, and I'll still talk about the cast and some other stuff. But it's a film that really speaks for itself, because it's a great movie. And, it's a great piece of filmmaking, directed by James Cameron. And, before, James Cameron, because now all he wants to do is direct Avatar movies, which now he's doing Avatar 2, 3, 4, 5, and I don't care. But, before that, and before Titanic, James Cameron directed some great movies. He directed this movie, The Abyss. Well, Aliens, how can I forget that? Great sequel, classic movie. I would say that's my favorite James Cameron movie. But he also directed The Abyss, T2, which is a great sequel, True Lies, and to me, that's where James Cameron stopped in regards to, directing great movies. And if people out there like Avatar, that's fine, but not for me. And I don't really care to see any more Avatar. But, like I said before that, James Cameron directed some great movies. And to me, this is one of them. Definitely at the top of, favorites. And, when you think about the year it came out in 1984, you had other great movies as well. I mean, you had other movies that came out that year, Nightmare on Elm Street, The Karate Kid, The Never-Ending Story, The Last Starfighter, Gremlins, Starman, 2010. And I was just looking at a bunch of movies here, that came out that year. Red Dawn, Splash, Dune came out that year. Ghostbusters, of course. Romance in the Stone, Beverly Hills Cop, Body Double, that's a good one. Chud, that's a fun movie. Firestarter, Missing in Action, Supergirl. I can go on and on. But, just a great year for movies. And, like I said, I mean, it's hard for me to really add anything new to the conversation, but, I'll still talk about some stuff here. And what I really enjoy about this movie, and actually it's my favorite Terminator film. And I know a lot of people say, T2, T2, T2. And for a while it was my favorite. I would say more back then. The more older that I get, I would say this is my favorite because there's just something that's so... it feels like a horror movie. The way it's shot, which a lot of it is at night. And it has a sort of down and dirty feel that, they weren't able to recapture for the other movies. Which, to me, you only needed really two movies. This one and T2. And I'll talk about T3 when I get to that. And Genesis and I almost said Dark Fart, but that's pretty much what it is. It's a dark fart in your face. Dark Fate. Yeah, we'll talk about that, which I know I did review, that film last year, I believe. But I will, get to that down the road. But this film here, again, the way it's shot, it's down and dirty, and for a film that, it didn't have a big budget. I mean, the budget was around 6 million, 6.5 million. And it just goes to show that, less is more. With that kind of budget, for the budget that it had, to me, it was shot well. It was, you know, well directed by James Cameron. And with the score that you throw in there by Brad Fiedel, you know, great score, and the special effects by Stan Winston, and the performances here. I mean, you know, when you talk about the cast, you know, of course, you know, Schwarzenegger as the Terminator, you know, he's a cold killing machine, and the way that, you know, his character shows up, you know, and then you have the punks, you know, which you recognize a couple of them. You know, you have Brian Thompson and Bill Paxton. And, you know, you got the scene where he's like, you know, nice night for a walk, eh? Nice night for a walk. And wash day tomorrow. Nothing clean, right? Nothing clean, right? And then, you know, he kills the punks and steals their clothes. And, you know, he's after Sarah Connor. And then that's when Michael Biehn, his character, comes into the picture. You know, he comes from the future. And he has to stop the Terminator from killing Sarah Connor. We all know the plot. You know, I don't really need to get into the plot of the film. We all know the plot. And Michael Biehn, you know, his character, Kyle Reese, you know, he's a soldier. And he has to, again, protect Sarah Connor and stop the Terminator. And, you know, his character, you really care for and you feel bad for, you know, because, you know, throughout the film, you know, he's having flashes to the future, and the way the future looked, I thought was really nicely done. You know, where now it just be like a lot of, you know, CG and, you know, CG backdrops and a lot of computer generated effects. But, you know, the way that the future looked at this film, I thought was, you know, again, it looked very cool for, you know, this time. You know, again, you know, this is before where now you have all this technology to make everything look pretty. But back then, everything didn't look pretty. You know, it wasn't prettied up. It was shot well. You know, the way, again, the future looked, and, you know, it's a big war going on. And you have all these machines and stuff. And, again, I thought it looked great. And then, again, when you get back to the year, you know, 1984, and then, you know, again, Kyle Reese has to protect Sarah Connor. You know, getting back to Michael Biehn for a second. Again, the way he plays that character, again, you feel bad for him, but he's a character that, you know, you root for. And I don't know, just Michael Biehn to me is a great actor, and to me an underrated actor. I mean, you know, of course, he would go on to be in The Abyss and, you know, Johnny Ringo and Tombstone. And I wish that guy, you know, had a bigger career. And I have met Michael Biehn before, and I did tell him that. I was like, you know, to me, you're a great actor, and you definitely deserved a bigger career. And he said, thank you. And, yeah, Michael Biehn, if you ever get a chance to meet him, definitely meet Michael Biehn. Excuse me. You know, like I said, I was under the weather, and, you know, I have a little stuff in my system, but getting better. But, yeah, Michael Biehn, a great guy. Definitely, again, if you see him at a convention or, you know, one of those cons, you know, definitely go meet him. But, you know, like I said, he's great as Kyle Reese here. And just a lot of great moments with the character. I mean, you know, where he's with Sarah Connor and he's trying to explain to her about, you know, the Terminator, that he doesn't stop. He's like, listen and understand. That Terminator is out there. It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear. And it will absolutely not stop ever until you are dead. And I can't do it like Michael Biehn. Michael Bihn's a better actor than I am. But, you know, the way he delivers, you know, those lines and, you know, explaining the future to Sarah Connor, and that her son, you know, leads the resistance, and, talking about Skynet and all that stuff. But again, Michael Biehn does a great job. Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor, which by the sequel, she would become a badass. And, here, her character at first, doesn't want any part of it. When Kyle Reese has to come in and save her and protect her and explains to her that, her son, that he has to protect, Sarah Connor from the Terminator because, her son, John Connor, will become a leader, and, she is a pivotal part, of course, but, everyone's seen the movie, so, again, what can I really add here? But, excuse me, Linda Hamilton does a great job as Sarah Connor, and, like I said, you could definitely, the transition from this movie to the second movie, because by the second movie, it's just a totally different character. Here she's more, trying to think of the word, more withdrawn, more meek, I guess, if you want to say that. But again, by the second movie, totally different transformation. And you got some other supporting characters in here too as well. I mean, as far as the cast, Lance Henriksen, he's in the movie, and I mean, Paul Winfield, rest in peace. I know he's passed away, but he's been in a lot of movies. Then you have the character Silberman, Dr. Silberman, played by Earl Boen. Of course, he would come back for the sequel and T3 for a little scene. Dick Miller is his pawn shop clerk. Of course, we all remember that scene where he's, the Terminator is buying the guns and kills Dick Miller. Like I said, Bill Paxton, Brian Thompson as the two punks. But, just a great cast. Everybody does a great job. And, like I said, I mean, with this film here, the way it's shot, again, it's down and dirty, it's gritty. There's a certain, rawness to the picture and the texture of the film. And, again, it just goes to show that, less is more, that you don't have to have a big budget. And for what they were able to do here with this budget, and, this film is still talked about today for, for many reasons. But again, I thought the budget was utilized well, great score, great special effects. So you all remember the scene where, he's in the bathroom, he takes his scalpel and takes his eye out, like cuts out his eye, which I know, the special effects in that scene you could say is a little herky-jerky, but I still appreciate the fact that, it was practical. Stan Winston did a great job with the special effects. He's definitely missed. I really miss Stan Winston. Of course, he worked on Jurassic Park and, Predator, and just many more. We all know who Stan Winston is. And, as far as the features on here, on this Blu-ray real quick, you have, excuse me, some deleted scenes. You have, creating the Terminator visual effects and music, Terminator a retrospective. So, I mean, there's some, but there's not a lot. And yeah, I mean, again, what more can you really say about this film? I mean, it's not like I'm adding anything new to the, to the conversation, or, again, what can I really say here, that 1,000 people haven't already said about the the Terminator. And, so yeah, I mean, again, I'll just kind of wrap it up here, I guess. I mean, but and maybe I'll do something more for the film. I haven't really thought about it, like whether that be, like a stream about the movie or what have you. But yeah, I mean, so the Terminator is definitely a classic. Definitely, one of my favorite James Cameron movies. Great score, great special effects. Arnold. This Terminator here. This is before the Terminator. Which I love T2, but there's that part of me that really misses, when the Terminator was cold and a killing machine, unstoppable. By the second film, which again I still love, but you give them a little bit more humor. Of course, that would get worse, by T3, by the time that rolls around, talk to the hand and all that stuff. And, Genesis, you have them, smile in a mugshot while Bad Boys is playing. But before all that, the Terminator was a cold, relentless killing machine. And, the way, again, just, it started off, down and dirty, and it wasn't prettied up. It's a gritty movie. It's a gritty sci-fi movie that really set the bar. And people might say, well, T2 is the better movie and better sequel and this and that, and it's still a great movie and it's still a worthy sequel. But again, as I get older, this has become my favorite because I just really appreciate that, again, just the way it was filmed, and it just has that gritty feel, down and dirty. It's not, it's a different movie from the second, and it's the one that started it all. So I just kind of, in the review here, so it's a classic. I mean, again, what more can I really add? What more can I say? It speaks for itself. So yeah, it's a sci-fi classic, timeless movie. Sorry if I still sound a little bit, nasally. I'm still getting back to reviews. I'm still, as you could tell, still trying to get over, like, I feel great. My energy is back, but there's still a little bit of stuff in my system. But I'm getting there. But thank you for bearing with me. Like I said, I may do something else for the Terminator. I just wanted to really gush about the movie here for a few minutes. Not really go in depth with the Terminator, but again, kind of share some thoughts and why, to me, it's a great movie, why it's a classic, and, just, express my love for the Terminator. So that's it for now. My review of that. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.